friends, it's Amy at Doki Doki Forest. Welcome, I'm so glad you're here. Today I'll be working in my Seasons glue book using the digital kits that Care from My Take at the Lake and I put together to share with not only each other, but with all of you. She put together 4 pages of winter images, and I put together 4 pages of different winter images. And we did this so that we could do the hashtag using the same images together, and again, also with all of you, anyone who would like to participate. And this is just sort of a fun little challenge here where we see what happens if we all have the same images. And we create something with it. We create a journal page, glue book page. You know, how do we put the images together and how do we all do it differently? And it's really interesting to see if we all have, you know, we're working with the same pool of images. So we decided to come up with 4 pages each of images to share. And we have all of these wonderful wintry images of snow and animals and anything that we like that appeals. A couple of quotes I put in there. I have like some illustration style little guys like Arnold Lobel's little owl. Like, how cozy does that owl look? A little snowflake on the pup's nose. And again, another illustration style of a fairy. And then I also have some more realistic pictures like this beautiful swan swimming through. It looks like a magical winter forest. And then just like this pine cone sort of detail. You could cut that and use that for like washi or a border or whatever you want. And then this is Foxwood Tales, a little illustration from that story. Or that's a whole group of stories, but you know, that's those characters from there. So there's all sorts of things to play with. And so if you would like to get these, head over to my Patreon page, and these are all free. I don't own these images, but you're free to download, print these out, and use them on your personal items, your own journals and things like that. But they're 100% free. You can go over there, you can just download these and be on your way. And then go over to Care's, to her Patreon page, and download them as well. Then you've got the whole set, the whole kit and caboodle. So let me cut all of these out, and then I'll film what I'm creating in my glue book. I will have the footage sped up while I'm working on it, but then at the end I will show in real time. We'll flip through the pages that I make. I just speed up the footage because it takes me a really long time to usually make these pages, and so it's not that interesting. If you were to watch in real time, it would be hours of your day, and I know you're busy and I appreciate you being here, so let me speed up that. I'll talk to you about what I was thinking and why I put certain things together, and then I'll meet you on the other side for a flip through. Okay, so I just want to show you real quick. I cut everything out and I want to show you that all that's left are just these scraps, and I have a nice little basket of images, and I pretty much got everything. I tried to get all of the backgrounds because, you know, these pieces are great for either backgrounds or just filling in. So I'm keeping everything, and I haven't fussy cut anything out because I don't know like which images I want the whole thing and which ones I want to fussy cut. So those are decisions I'll make on the go. Like, I don't want to fussy cut this deer and snowman out until I know for sure that I don't want that background. And then this little guy, I even left a little border on just for options. And then, you know, if I want to get in there closer, I can. But if I need this background to kind of make the page feel a little more complete to my eye, then I'm going to keep it in. And the same thing with the words too. I do like having the background in there, but I could go in and fussy cut that if I would like. So those are decisions to make while the page is being built, and I kind of see how everything looks. Okay, let's go ahead and dive into these pages. I have just been a gluing fool lately. I've just been enjoying gluing in either my Colors glue book or my Seasons glue book or my glue book January. I know it's February, but this is like the month for gluing for me, I guess. And who knows, maybe it's going to continue through the whole year. It might. But yeah, so the first thing I'm doing on these pages is figuring out my background. And that seems to be the direction I like to go every time I begin one of these pages, just figuring out my larger images and how those are going to be placed. And then once I have that first layer down, I feel like I can keep building on it and putting more and more layers and little pieces, sort of like the details. It's almost like if I'm painting and I might paint the background with a watercolor wash, and then I can go ahead and maybe put some more details on top of it and just kind of build upon it. And I seem to almost always plan my backgrounds out before I glue them, and especially when it's a lot of little pieces like this, if I have one large image, then it's easier to just glue that down and be done with the background, and then you can go ahead and put other pieces on top. But when it's all small pieces, I really try to plan it out, and I was sorting things sort of by type, but right now I'm just looking for outdoor pictures where the mood feels kind of the same. So I have a lot of these blues, wintry blues and grays and things. And I don't have a story right now, really, besides that portal to the winter world, which is what I'm calling that window that I cut out. So I know it's there's this portal and you go through it and you wind up in this wintry wonderland, and it's just blustery. It's beautiful though, beautiful snowflakes, but it is snowing pretty heavily. And then once I put the image right there of the girl down with her dog, I did start to think of a story, because then I was like, okay, she's my character. She and her dog have gone through this portal. They went out for a regular walk, they thought, and they didn't even see the portal. Somehow they've crossed over into this wintry wonderland. But it starts snowing really heavily, and they are getting pretty cold. And the other thing is, they are lost, because of course they don't know where they are. Nothing looks familiar, and not only that, they can't even see that much because it's almost a whiteout. A nor'easter, as we call it around here. So this whiteout has made it so that they're both getting colder and colder. And then they see a little pup on the path ahead of them, holding a glove. And it seems to be sort of trying to get their attention. So they think, well, maybe we should follow that pup, because it's more than likely that that pup is going to be going to a house, or maybe to another person, maybe to more pups. Who knows? But usually you don't see puppies by themselves. They're usually with someone. And as the storm rages on, there are times when they can't even see that little pup in the snow anymore, because it is a pretty small pup. But they can hear a little barking sound, a little yip, 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 to keep them on track. And every now and then, there are little lanterns along the path. They have candles inside, and they're lighting the way, sort of, if you can see them through the snow. So between the little dogs barking and these lanterns, they are slowly but surely making some sort of progress towards something. But where? They hope this dog isn't just going to get them more lost than they already are. They have to trust him, though. So they keep following. And then they begin to smell something in the air, almost as if something's burning. But could it be a blazing campfire somewhere? Out here in the middle of nowhere? So now the girl starts to get excited. She thinks, oh, thank goodness we can get warm. There's something warm and cozy up there, and where there's a fire, there's hopefully some people sitting around it, getting warm. Let's see what we find. And as they get closer and closer to the campfire, there's a delicious smell in the air. Is that marshmallows? She wonders. They see the fire. They can see the orange, flickering flames through the snow. And then they get closer and they see tables full of food. Somehow, the snow is not accumulating on the food. It's going right around it. There are mugs of warm drinks, marshmallows for roasting, and 2 pups that seem to be in charge of the whole thing. They're both wearing sunglasses and some sort of a scarf. "Greetings," they say. "Help yourself. Come get warm by the fire." "Oh, thank you," she says. And she does. She sits down, she has some marshmallows, and of course they have all the fixings to make some delicious s'mores. "Oh, we can't eat the chocolate," they say. "Feel free to help yourself." So she does. She has chocolate and marshmallows and cups of hot cocoa. There's tea, and there are trays of doggy biscuits as well. And the pups are chomping on the dog biscuits and having a great time. "Excuse me," she says, I think I'm lost. Can you please point me in the direction where I can find a home?" "Why, of course," they say. "Go over that way." And they point. The girl squints her eyes and she can see a lantern in the distance. "Oh, thank you," she says. "I'll go there right now. Is there a house there?" "Oh, sometimes," the dogs say cryptically. "Well, that's better than nothing," she says, and off she goes. So now I am building the next part of the story, where she's continuing on her walk after getting warm by the fire and recharged by all the treats. So when I'm building these pages, I still have so many winter images to use that are outside. So I sort of separated the images that were outdoors from the images that were indoors, because I do want these pages to transition from that walk in the woods to going inside and getting really cozy and warm. So I know I want to use the house, and then I have that caravan as well, and I love that. So I want to use both of those, and I'm thinking I'll do the winter pages or the woodsy pages on the left, and then the more inside cozy pages on the right. So on the left we have the river, the beautiful river, the frozen, well, it's not frozen, it's actually running, but the world around it is frozen. And they have some animals that they've seen, and they also have some snowmen that they've walked by. And I'm imagining that, they look at the snowman and they think, okay, somebody's got to be around here because someone had to build that snowman. And then as they keep walking, they think they see out of the corner of their eye the snowman move. So it's like, maybe these snow people are alive? And then on the right, we've got the cozy indoors, because the girl and the dog do, in fact, find this home. So they have a choice. They can either go in the house or in the caravan. So it's kind of like a choose your own adventure. But no matter which one they go in, it winds up being this big, spacious room, way bigger on the inside than it looks on the outside, just like Doctor Who's TARDIS. And there is a little bunny couple that greets them, "Come in, come in." So the girl and her dog go inside, and it's nice and warm in there, beautiful. There's an owl enjoying himself in his blankets and sitting by the fire. And he's the one that they direct her to when she asks how to get back home. And they say, "Well, we've been here forever, but Owl has flown all throughout the woods. If anyone can get you home, it's him." So the girl goes and sits by Owl at the fire, and she keeps trying to ask him a question. But he seems kind of bothered because he's trying to rest. And he keeps telling her to go away and come back later, after he's had his nap. And it's not until the bunny couple come over, and they say, "But you've been sleeping all day. Surely you can help this poor child and her dog get back home." "Oh, all right," the owl finally concedes. He asks her how she possibly got to this winter wonderland. And she insists she doesn't know. She was walking through the woods, And then suddenly she was here. And it was snowing so hard she couldn't see. She didn't see any way to get home. And the bunnies and the owl look at each other knowingly and nod. You went through the portal, they say. But I never saw a portal or a door. Ah, yes, the owl sighs. That is how the Winter Queen works. She creates these portals. She loves the winter. She wants the whole world to be winter. So she opens up secret portals to try to connect all the worlds together, so they will come in and her snow can go out. And soon, her plan is to cover the whole world in her snowstorm. But how do I get back home? The girl says. Well, the owl says, of course, if you've come through the portal, surely there's a way to go back out of it. But how can one do that if we can't even see it? Oh, that's where you have to ask Little Snowy over there, Owl says. Little Snowy, says the girl. What do you mean? You see that snowman over there? She looks over, and sure enough, in front of the fire, there's actually a snowman doing yoga? How is a snowman doing yoga in front of the fire? No, 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 my dear, says the owl. Not yoga, snowga. Snowga, she says. Ah, yes, through practicing snowga, he's made his snow so that it won't melt. It's gotten so strong. He can lay right in front of the fire. Well, that's fascinating, but what does that have to do with me getting home? The girl asks. Oh, yes, well, you know, he's been everywhere. He can travel all through the woods. He's been on both sides of the portal, and surely if there's anyone that can get you home, it's him. Oh, thank you so much, she says. I'll go talk to him right away. So she goes over and she talks to this wonderful snowman by the fire. And she asks, I hear that you know how I can get home. Oh, yes, that's quite true, he says. All you have to do is take 3 sips of hot chocolate and say to yourself, there's no place like home. The girl thinks to herself, that sounds really familiar. Wasn't there a movie like that? But she shrugs and says, okay, I'll give it a go because I really need to get back. So she picks up a mug by the fire, fills it with hot chocolate, takes 3 sips and says, there's no place like home. And sure enough, the world around her seems to swirl softly. She closes her eyes. She feels a cold breeze whirl through her hair. And then when she opens her eyes, she's back home again. I can't believe that worked, she said. Her pup looks at her, tail wagging. No one's going to believe this story, she says. And together, they both walk down the familiar street and return back home again. So that is the story that goes with these pages. It's kind of a winter Wizard of Oz sort of tale. And, you know, of course, it could be expanded and she could meet some more companions and that sort of thing. But that's kind of what I was thinking of. And this little house here, I thought maybe this could be her house that she can kind of see or in the distance right before she goes through the portal. So I was trying to fit that on, and I'm just trying to fit the little words and details on that I haven't glued on yet. So trying to figure out, I like it on that image, but I didn't want it to cover up the path. And I really liked it over on the left side. And that way you could kind of see it as on either side of the portal. It could either be, you know, on one side where she goes through, or it could be behind her. And it could be where she came from. And then I just like that up to snow good. I felt like that matched with the Snow Queen as she's up to some mischief, trying to take over the world with snow. And then I just found this other image of food, and I thought, oh, I didn't include that at first, so I'm just going to trim it and put that there. And then I have another fire, which I like. I'm going to go ahead and put that with the pups. And then just some other images here and there. So I fussy cut that little fairy out, and then I fussy cut the little bird out, and just figuring out where they go. I liked that she was kind of offering the bird some food, maybe in front of the house, or maybe they were inside the house hanging out with Owl. So I like the little bird sitting with Owl, and I thought the fairy looks cute, you know, bringing over some food to share maybe. But then I wound up changing it because I discovered this other image that had like blankets, and it was like cozy, like picnicky with the mugs. So I trimmed that out, and I decided that that would look really good between Owl and then the other pictures with like the fireplace and the person sitting with their mug of cocoa in a book. So I put that down there, and then the fairy I wound up putting back by the front door. You know, I don't know if that's a visitor coming to visit the bunnies and Owl, or maybe she lives there too. So I'm just trying to figure out where these images are going to go, where I can put the words. And even though I felt like I packed a lot onto these pages, there was still a couple things I didn't use. So let me go through right now, and I'll show you in real time. Okay, so let's have a look at what we wound up with at the end. I added this little snowflake here because I had that image that had a few snowflakes on it. So I thought, well, I can cut that and add that to the pages here and there. Then we have this page, which kicked the whole kind of story off with this image of the girl and her dog going for a walk. And then at the bottom here, this was that image I added that had some more food, some s'mores or something going on there. So I wanted it to be with this whole, you know, not a picnic, but sort of an outdoor picnic in the winter, I guess. And then the mug, and then I added this little mitten holding the drink, which I thought could look like the dog's paw. And then this little fire. I added that in there because they are supposed to be sitting at a fire, and I didn't have a picture of the fire, so that worked out perfectly. And then here we go, continuing our walk through the woods. And that quote up there says, "The plants and the earth are resting. Maybe we should too. The long days will be here soon enough." We've let it snow, and I added another little snowflake at the bottom there. Here's the Snow Queen working some kind of magic. And then here we are inside, getting warm and cozy. There's our little snowman doing snowga. And this warm and cozy fireplace that has everyone just resting and reading. What's that little piece of paper? A little piece of paper on there. And then we have this last page, and these were all images that I just couldn't seem to figure out how to get them to fit on these other pages. I felt like these were really whoops, not that one. That's the Valentine's. I felt like these were really jam-packed, and if I put any more words, it would be too much. And if I put any more of the images, it would be too much. And yet I love all of these words and images. So I was kind of thinking maybe these are just like her memories, thinking about that winter wonderland, even though it was a little bit intense with the storm, but maybe she's remembering, you know, the little snowflake on her dog's nose, and, you know, the beautiful river they walked by, the animals they saw, and she was thinking, it's a winterful life. And I might paint here because, just to kind of fill that in, because that's just what I like to do, and I don't think that's cheating if I do paint, because I'm not adding any more images, I just want to cover that up. So there we go. There are my winter digital pages. Winter is officially done in the season's glue book. Next up will be probably a holiday page for St. Patrick's Day. And then after that will be Easter. So we have a couple holidays to put in this season's book. So thank you so much for joining me here today. I hope you're staying warm and cozy wherever you are, or if you're in the southern hemisphere, I hope you're staying nice and cool. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you again soon.